Don in London. Hello, it's April 20th, 2009, Monday morning, nearly 8:30, and we have promise of sunshine today, which will make a big difference to somebody like me who can suffer from SAD disorder, seasonal afflicted or affected disorder. Not enough sun imposes restrictions on my happiness, I suspect. Anyway, my videos are all about recovery from addiction either to substance or behaviour, or addiction to substance and behaviours. If it doesn't get us one way, it probably gets us another way. If we have a preponderance to overindulge in some way and then suddenly find that we are stuck in some sort of addiction. My substance, alcohol, so now a recovering alcoholic on a daily basis, just one day at a time. And the behaviours which went with that were working as hard as I might to show my worth and try and get some self-esteem, but often I was blocked by just having ego, putting on a brave face, and being driven by a thousand forms of fear you never even knew I had, because I never let it out. I kept shut down inside, and what helped me do that? I suppose trying to find oblivion on a daily basis using alcohol, the only self-medicating drug I could get hold of. So I don't drink a day at a time, and these days I try to watch out for the other behaviours which will happen, workaholism, gymaholic, relationshipaholic, and it's very easy to try and fix ourselves when we feel broken down. We find the easiest way, and often for me that was alcohol. So 35 years later, suddenly I had a blinding insight which probably any normal person would get straight away, not having to wait even 35 years, more maybe a day. That is when the first hangover occurred, and I worked through my first hangover and then did that for 35 years. I don't know what to say about that, other than some of us need to be teachable, and it took a long time for me to actually realise this awakening in me was simply, I cannot do this on my own. That was the basic spiritual awakening I had in my whole life. I need not do this on my own. Indeed, I cannot use my willpower to stop drinking. And that great admission, if you like, that I'm just human and I needed help, started a chain of events which led to recovery and the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. So it wasn't an easy journey, and I didn't get it on the first go. And I had a lot of medical support which kept me alive when I was on death's door. And then at the admission, if you like, in me, I can't do it on my own, and no amount of help and support from family, community, society seemed to do the trick. But eventually I was detoxed, and eventually I did get to a rehab, which was the worst place for me. Sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't, and I was out there in a rage drinking again after 3 months. And then we have that understanding somewhere that we've got somewhere where we can say, well, there is an answer to this, but it's only for a day, and that's to go into the fellowship, be a part of, and start to work out how to live again. And the great news is, and it's also sad news really, that 35 years having got there, it's taking one day at a time to make life work. So we don't have any storage bank of past experience which will stop us from drinking. But all we know is how to, and then learning how not to drink on a daily basis, and get a life back, so that we have emotional, physical sobriety, and some understanding about what is spiritual. And actually, when I've looked at all the philosophers, spiritual is actually seeing the truth of now, being in the moment of now, seeing the truth. And the truth is, for me, how am I feeling today? I've still got a cold. I need not worry, it's abating, and I don't feel so bunged up. How do I feel about life? Well, life is even at the moment, and I'm dealing with whatever I need to. And the other things I deal with is type 1 diabetes, lots of injections and blood sugar testing, and making sure I know where I am with my clinical depression. So it's not an easy life, but you know what? It's far better than any of the life I had when I was drinking, because I just didn't know who I was. And now at least, who am I? I'm Don. I'm just simply a recovering alcoholic, making each day work as best I can. And the fellowship helps me. So when I go to meetings in London, of which there are 600 or 700, the AA preamble is shared. I don't speak for AA, I speak about my experience, strength and hope because of it. And I think that's important, because a lot of people get very uptight about the anonymity part. And for me, anonymous means we have sanctuary to find the truth. So truth is spiritual for me, and anonymity is the sanctuary which provides an opportunity for us to find our truth. More on step 4 in a minute. But AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that's why I do these videos. I want to share a message of experience, strength and hope, and not be bogus. That's why I put my face out here. I'm just an ordinary person of 50 plus years, making life work just on a daily basis. And there are 12 steps of action in the action program for us recovering alcoholics. It's a way of finding our path, and then there are 12 traditions which keep that fellowship going: unity, service and recovery. So the 12 steps are all about being open, honest and willing, and finding out who we are. And 12 steps, 12 months. Step 4 for April is all about doing a fearless moral inventory to identify our grudge list and our resentments against ourselves and others. And often we find when we do it that the same resentments keep on happening over and over again, and they're to do with our defects of character, mainly resentment and anger. So in the AA's big book, this one, I just want to plug it. There's a bit about step 4. So it says here, therefore we started upon a personal inventory. This was step 4. A business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. Taking a commercial inventory is a fact-finding and fact-facing process. It is an effort to discover the truth about the stock in trade. One object is to disclose damaged or unsaleable goods, to get rid of them promptly and without regret. If the owner of the business is to be successful, he cannot fool himself about values. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First we searched out the flaws in our makeup, which caused our failure. Being convinced that self, manifested in various ways, was what had defeated us, we considered its common manifestations. Resentment is the number one offender. It destroys more alcoholics than anything else. From it stem all forms of spiritual disease. That's spiritual is the truth. For we have been not only mentally and physically ill, we have been spiritually sick. When the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. In dealing with resentments, we set them on paper. We list people, institutions or principles with whom we were angry. We asked ourselves why we were angry. In most cases it was found that our self-esteem, our pocketbooks, our ambitions or our personal relationships, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore, we were burned up. So really, in that page 64-65 in here, it then has a list as an example of how to find out what your grudges and resentments are. And the reason why I'm smiling is I've done this, and I had to do it as part of self-appraisal for many years anyway. But for many people, they haven't actually done a thorough self-examination, if you like. And the spiritual context of this is finding the truth. So easy it seems, but not easy at all when we're driven by 1,000 forms of fear about how you might think of me. And when it comes to April 20th in this one, the 12 steps are basically step 4, and I know I'm running short on time. In fact, I haven't got time to say it, but maybe I'll do a second video today, just do the readings. And, you know, we don't need to be glum anymore, we don't need to be resentful anymore. If we understand that people are doing their best, even when they're doing their worst. We were doing our worst and we're still trying to do our best. So it's better to give everybody a break, forgive everything of everybody. And the only way we can do that is to forgive ourselves for being human, being sick and getting well again. So it doesn't stop the consequences and the losses. That's one thing to remind ourselves of. We won't put everything right, but we can sure try to make this one day work. So when I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, I'm simply trying to do it one day at a time.